Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're literally decoding the insider secrets to absolutely mastering the O-Level Business Studies Paper 2 exam. If you've been looking for the most direct, no-nonsense way to understand exactly what examiners are hunting for, you are in the exact right place. We're going to break down the specific techniques that separate the average grades from those top-tier scores. So get ready, because we're about to completely change how you approach this exam.
You know the feeling, right? It's the ultimate frustration, and honestly, it's just heartbreaking to see. You study for hours. You memorize those textbook definitions backward and forward. You walk out of the exam room feeling completely invincible. And then, well, the grade just doesn't reflect your hard work. So why does this happen? It's simply because students often don't know how to frame their answers the way the examiner expects. Knowing the facts is really only half the battle. The other half, it's all about delivery. So here is our game plan for today, your step-by-step blueprint to guaranteeing top marks. 1. Cracking paper 2. 2. The 8-mark blueprint. 3. The 12-mark strategy. 4. The power of conclusions. And finally, number 5, winning exam day tactics. Let's dive in.
All right, Section 1, Cracking Paper 2, the game of application. The absolute first thing you've got to wrap your head around is that Paper 2 is an entirely different game than standard memorization. It is all about application. But what does it actually mean in practice? Well, application is connecting your business knowledge to a real breathing scenario. You have to use the specific business name from the case study, reference the actual data they give you, and explain how your point impacts that specific business. Seriously, if your answer sounds like it could theoretically apply to any random business in the world, you're going to lose marks instantly. It has to be tailor-made for the exact case study sitting right in front of you.
Moving right along to Section 2, the 8-mark blueprint, frameworks for success.
When you hit those 8-mark questions, examiners are looking for exactly 2 fully developed points, not 4 weak ones. Quality beats quantity every single time here. And to build those 2 perfect points, you need a bulletproof framework, the PEAL structure. That's point, explain, example, which is your application, and link back. First up, you state your point clearly. Second, explain the underlying business concept. Third, drop in an example directly from the case study data. And fourth, link it all back by stating the ultimate impact on that specific business. If you follow this exact step-by-step flow, you'll construct the perfect paragraph every single time.
Okay, let's actually see this in action. A weak answer might sound something like this. Limited liability protects owners, shares can be sold. See? It's just a textbook definition and a basic list. Now, contrast that with a strong answer. Limited liability protects personal assets if the business faces debt, which is vital during this risky expansion. Notice the difference there? The strong answer doesn't just define the term, it applies it directly to the financial risk of the specific expansion mentioned in the case study, and it develops the impact. That is exactly how you grab those crucial analysis marks. Now, I really want to imprint this massive number 2 in your mind as a golden examiner rule. If your paragraph is only 2 lines long, it is simply not developed enough. No way around it. A proper PEAL paragraph requires depth. If you've just jotted down 2 lines, you definitely haven't fully explained the impact, and you certainly haven't linked it back to the business.
All right, stepping it up to Section 3, the 12-mark strategy, achieving balanced analysis.
Now, when you reach the 12-mark questions, the rules of the game change. Examiners are demanding a highly structured, balanced analysis. You absolutely cannot just be a cheerleader and argue one side. Start with a quick introduction, explain your first advantage, and follow that up with a second advantage. But then, and this is the critical pivot, you must discuss the opposing risks or disadvantages. You have to prove to the examiner that you see the whole picture. Finally, wrap it up with a solid recommendation. Discussing both sides is totally non-negotiable if you want top marks. And this right here is exactly where average students accidentally leave easy points on the table. They only explain one side of the scenario. They'll list all the glorious, amazing things about opening a new branch, but completely ignore the massive costs involved. The top-tier approach? It layers knowledge, application, analysis, and evaluation. You state the advantage, apply it to the strong demand shown in the case, analyze how that bumps up profit, and then you evaluate the flip side, like higher rent. It's building this complete logical stack that pushes your answers straight into the highest mark bands.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 4, the power of conclusions, making the judgment.
Let me be totally blunt here for a second. Without proper evaluation in your conclusion, securing top marks on a 12-marker is virtually impossible. This quote really nails the exact expectation from examiners. A strong conclusion makes a decision, justifies it, and importantly, rejects the other point.
This is the huge missing ingredient in so many students' essays. They get to the end, run out of steam, and just summarize what they already wrote. A real conclusion doesn't sit on the fence, it takes a stand. Just think about the difference between these two approaches. A weak conclusion might read, "Therefore, opening a branch has advantages and disadvantages." I mean, that just repeats the obvious and makes zero decisions. Now listen to a strong conclusion. The business should open a branch because increased revenue outweighs costs. Since demand is high, the alternative of not expanding is too risky. Boom. It actively chooses a path, explains exactly why using case data, and flat out rejects the alternative of staying put. That, right there, is what real evaluative analysis looks like.
And finally, Section 5, Winning Exam Day Tactics, Mistakes and Execution.
So, now that you have all the structural blueprints, let's talk about execution on the actual day. Let's rapid fire through the biggest red flags you need to dodge. First, do not just write definitions. Second, never write an answer with zero case study application. Third, do not skip the conclusion in a 12-marker. Fourth, avoid repeating the same point just using slightly different words. Fifth, stop writing so generally that your answer could apply to a bakery just as easily as a tech firm. And lastly, never state a fact without explaining its impact. These are the classic traps, guys. Avoid them at all costs.
To help you dodge those traps, I'm giving you the ultimate cheat code question. Seriously, memorize this right now. How does this affect the business in the case study? After every single sentence you write, ask yourself this question in your head. If your sentence doesn't answer it, you need to add more detail. This one single question will instantly anchor your answers and keep you right on track for maximum points. Picture this. The exam timer starts. What do? Here are your immediate tactical actions. First, read the case study incredibly carefully. Second, get your pen moving and physically underline important data, numbers, specific challenges, target demographics. Third, circle the command words in the questions. Are they asking you to recommend, justify, or explain? Knowing the exact command word tells you precisely which framework to pull out of your toolkit.
Now, let's quickly talk time management, because running out of time is a totally preventable tragedy. Here's your strategy. For an 8-mark short response, give yourself roughly 10 to 12 minutes. For a 12-mark extended response, allocate about 15 to 18 minutes. Be ruthless with these timings, and always try to leave just a few minutes at the very end to scan your work and double-check that you've actually linked everything back to the business.
To sum everything up, here is your core formula for success. Knowledge plus application plus analysis plus evaluation equals top marks. Remember, Business Studies Paper 2 is absolutely not about writing the longest answer. It is about writing the smartest answer.
Wow, we've covered a ton of ground today, from the Peel framework all the way to the art of the perfect conclusion. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Are you ready to stop blindly memorizing and start thinking exactly like an examiner? Take these blueprints, apply them to your next past paper, and literally watch your scores transform. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep applying, and good luck out there.